the fruit trees and things. Here's an example of what your battle is with well, I don't know if you call it a battle, but here in Grants Pass, there was a beautiful cherry tree. Oh, it had the most beautiful cherries on it in the park. And I enjoyed them for many years. There was plenty. There was just masses of beautiful Bing cherries. They decided that, because they're authoritarians, that, somebody could climb the tree for the fruit and fall out and break their legs or whatever. So they just destroyed the tree. They took the tree away because that was their excuse, because if a child was to climb up the tree and fall out, they could get hurt. So it's just how the authoritarians, how would you be able to convince them unless it's on private properties? It seems like they're find their ways to prevent anything practically that's beneficial for everyone from taking place. And about the fruit trees. Go ahead, Val.
Yeah, but you see, it's for their protection. It's not for the benefit of the public, really. It's all for their protection, so they don't get sued, and the laws are basically set up for themselves to maintain their power and authority, and so it's a little bit turned around the way things are.
A lot. I got to grow up on Whidbey Island where the climate's mild and it gets plenty of rain, and there was an old couple by the name of Will and Ada that had the most beautiful garden. He had 3.5 acres of garden with all the berries, the strawberries and the raspberries and all the different fruit trees, the pears and the apples and the cherries and the nut trees, the hazelnuts, on and on. And he just let the children go into the big strawberry field when the berries are ripe and pick all they wanted to eat, and you could help yourself to all the cherries you wanted to eat and all the beautiful apples, each in their season, and plums. He lived, and the healthy foods from their self-sufficient, I guess you'd call it a farm. They had chickens and cows too, and they'd grown up that way. And they lived all the way up to their 100 years old. Will was still working in the garden at 98, just out there with his hoe, weeding the plants. But that was awful wonderful when a person, that was only 2 people, and how plentiful they could make the food and how good the food was. It was so plentiful. It was not just for themselves. It was for everybody that was around the area, could help themselves to all the peas they could eat and everything. It was very healthy and very beautiful to see such beautiful gardens. So hopefully someday it'll be certain places on Earth where it's that way. Get some property where people can plant their fruit trees and nut trees and their vegetables and live off the land, be self-sufficient. So I guess it could be done. Of course, there has to be water and the right soils and right places for the right kind of things to grow, but the climates. How wonderful the world could be if authoritarians or people with all their agreements thinking that the importance is to take all the wood out of the forest and make things out of it and make money and destroy practically the natural environment. And here we have authoritarian powers deciding they want to burn up the forests. It's just such an opposite almost. It seems like life is trying to be the worst it can make it instead of the best. If everybody tried to make it the best it could be, what a world. That's kind of like what I think the real universes would be like. where everything is wonderful and enjoyable.
No restrictions.
Yeah,
That's all we have is restrictions here. That's all we have here is restrictions. So
yeah. Yes. Well,
so
it's quite a lesson to never be free from restrictions. Will feel so different. It's hard to even imagine how it would be like if we could do whatever we wanted as long as we weren't interfering with somebody else. And that seems like all they want to do on this earth is interfere with everybody, control everybody, and they want these powers that be, whether they're the reptilians controlling their minions. And it seems like it must be a big lesson. It didn't have to seem like be this way. But maybe it is a benefit to experience all this opposite of how the real universes are. So we're very thankful we get to be in the real universes. It is interesting. Things we could talk about of real importance, like the fruit trees, and showing people that the trees are something that are valuable, and they provide food and the air and shelter, shade, and hold moisture in the ground. And of course, they'd have to change their way of dealing with it when they say, well, it'll make a mess on the ground because nobody will pick the crop. Well, they can have people in the shelters or whatever in need pick the fruits and the nuts, and if they have a piece of property where there's water, and they could grow the vegetables too and the berries. If the consciousness tension to want to be involved with stuff like that, they practically have to be shown that it's beneficial to them, or they don't care to be involved at all. They're more interested in making money and getting things, it seems like. It's because I see all the beautiful fruits even that exist now, and the majority of the public's properties go to waste. They just let the fruit fall on the ground. They don't pick the fruit. They've got the beautiful trees that bear the beautiful fruits, and nobody will even take the time and put out the effort to even harvest the beautiful crops the trees are giving. It seems like there's other things that they're seeming to be that are more important for them to do than to pick the fruit and eat it. They'd rather just go to the store and buy chemically treated stuff that looks perfect. But I'd rather have an apple that's not been treated with pesticides and stuff. Even if it has a worm in it, you can always cut that part of it out, and it tastes so much better, the fruit that's natural. So I guess these efforts at the present are trying to enlighten people that the trees are good for their benefit. You have to show them that it's something that they benefit from. Maybe, especially if you grow trees, you could have berries like raspberries. Everybody just about seems like they like raspberries. The children would love to pick them. And they're just a bush that doesn't have, thorns or things to hurt them. And they're pretty plentiful in the right areas. You can plant raspberries, and in the right areas, strawberries spread and multiply real fast too. Might have to deal with slugs or something if you've given them the water, but yes, I guess these projects are another effort to try to get people's attention to what's important about, but all leading to what's really important about not having to come back into this human farming place reincarnating over and over. Some of the people of the earth seem to know that there's reincarnation, and a lot don't seem to think that we reincarnate. They may wonder. It's not like it can be, what would you call it, proven much. Maybe some people can have examples of past lives or things like that people wonder about. So it's good to discuss stuff about this new presentation. I don't know if we have any new people that somehow call into this number. I still don't understand that, how they could even reach this Blog Talk Radio to listen, and I don't know how that works. How would they know the number of Blog Talk Radio? Is it on the same number all over the earth, or?
We have a website called Blog Talk Radio /Kelsey Lynn Brown. So all the shows are there, and people can click on the different shows to see what time they are. And there's the same caller number for all the shows on our channel. So, and we share the link around, so when people click the link, the number comes up and the time of the show.
Oh, yeah, that's one way if they're paying attention to, what's it called, Kelsey's posts, or that they could find this, like right now. Could you tell if anybody was new listening to this conversation we're having?
I can only see people that have called in. So there could be, 8 billion people listening right now without calling in, and we wouldn't know. But we can only see the people that have called in, which are you, Tim, Eric, Val, and myself.
And Claudie.
Well, Claudie dropped off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Well, I guess the real guides know who's ready, and would make it possible for them to somehow connect through Kelsey's post or something to listen.
Yeah, so I put the link to the show on a bunch of Facebook groups so people can find the link later and listen there, or sometimes I put the shows into YouTube videos so people can listen to them on YouTube too. Yeah.
Yeah, this modern technology, I guess there's millions and millions of people that are all looking at it, and there's so much on it, it seems endless, whatever they're paying their attention to. Something the real guides for sure would know how to get their attention if they were ready on this worldwide stuff. Does anybody have any new ideas about presenting it or attracting? Oh, I don't know if it's called attracting or helping to be providing the real guidance to the real guides and the real education. It's mainly just the tech stuff right now, and the like Val and Kelsey and you when you go out in public.
Yeah, we're just trying to help people to see what's going on with the planet. Just first of all, just be real with what's going on right in front of them. It's not about belief or things are getting better. We believe things are getting better, or the government's going to take care of this or that, and things have already been. Things will work out. Technology will work things out. It's more like what's going on, not what you believe or not what your attitude is or idea about things, but just really face what's going on in the world right now. To really take a look at the situation, and that in itself is a wake up. If people are really honest with themselves, And that's part of where we come in. We're just helping people to see through their attitudes and beliefs, considerations and ideas and all that, and to see what's going on right in front of them. And then from there, then we can take it further. We can take it into more of a other dimensional kind of idea, and work with dreams, work with the real side experiences, and really get beyond the mundane physical, which is not bad. It's just that there's more. We're always emphasized nothing's negated here. So just take it always another step into the unknown. And that's where a lot of people don't want to go there, to the unknown. They want to be comfortable with what they already know. So this is all about being willing to see what you can't see, what's impossible in a way, what the literal mind cannot. Well, it can't grasp this, what we're doing. You have to take the risk. You have to go beyond what you think you know, and then you start getting into this, the way it works, and the way you become more aware. It's a process that goes on, and then you're okay. No matter what happens in the physical or any other level, you're okay, because you're with this reality that always is. And it's not the easiest thing to explain, so that's why it's neat to have different viewpoints here. Henry and Kelsey and you and Eric and Claudia and everybody, of course Dwayne, the real guide. So everybody has their viewpoints on it, and then what we do is share our viewpoints. And all we're doing is sharing. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything. But our sharing helps other people wake up to so they can see what they're been, looking at and seeing and being self-convinced about. So by us sharing, it can inspire others to see more, because they're looking at us and saying, well, what are those people, what are they talking about? What are they really talking about? We're not sure, but it sounds kind of interesting. Some of them may be curious and look further. A lot of people don't. But as Dwayne's mentioned, there's like 1 billion people you've seen on the real side that are interested. There's almost 8 billion people on the planet. Well, 1 billion. 1 billion or so could be potentially, really ready to wake up. But you have to decide to do it. You have to decide to take that step into the unknown for what's unknown to you, on a level, personal level, and get beyond the personal self into this other area where it's just so real that it's scary for the personal self. So we're just sharing, and see if others would want to. In a way, there's an agreement involved here with this reality. So the reality exists. It's an isness, and then each of us sees it in a certain way. We each choose our position with it, and then through that agreement with it, we create our reality. The true reality, not the illusion that we have here in the physical, but actually a true reality. And that's why I say we're okay, because no matter what happens, we're okay. It's okay. Because this reality exists, it always has, it just is. There's an isness to it. And you're okay with it because you recognize it and you perceive it and you are it, and so it's never going to go away unless you decide to do funny things, like a lot of people are. So yeah, thanks, Tim.
Yeah, I was just thinking while you were talking about this, is that here we've come through smoke signals and telegraphs, telephones, and TVs and radios and these modern computer and smartphones on Earth. We have the ability now, seems like, to be able to communicate with that billion you talked about that Dwayne sees as ready on Earth, to just be light, just not try and influence anyone, but just shining, letting it be exposed to people. Even though the powers that be seem to have controlled everything, even though it was people were able to communicate, it's like they controlled TVs and they control, what's said, and now it seems like the tech stuff's starting to be more and more controlled too. I'm seeing effects in the little bit I'm involved with of stuff being controlled by the ones that are in control of, like, Facebook and other things on these smartphones. And who knows what's there right now that we don't know about communicating to without having to hold on to material things, whether somehow we'll be able to communicate like Claudia says the Syrians are able to telepathically communicate. They don't need phones or something. Who knows? But it is a big opportunity, it seems like, and something to be thankful for, to be involved with, to have a real purpose for being, for those that are ready. Like all of us, we need this real guidance and a real education. And if there's a billion people that are ready for that right now, it seems like that's what we're in the process of doing, is being able to give them what they need, the real guidance and the real education, to connect them with real universal guides, and they can see what makes sense to themselves and test the new UUU sessions. Maybe it'll have a big change soon. Is there anything anybody else would like to talk about? Or I guess we've had a pretty good discussion.
We could just sing the new you, Tim.
Okay, great. New you.
New you.
New